So there's a lot of stuff to talk about actually. I want to structure this video in three parts and I will explain and prevent maybe occurring questions all throughout these three parts. Part number one is gonna be the statement, I quit Celtic Heroes. That's gonna be part number one. Part number two is the new area I want to discuss this. Not for too long, but I gotta dedicate a little time to it. Number three is what else could you do with your life that is better than Celtic Heroes, and why I decided to quit Celtic Heroes was the best decision. Okay, let's start it. So, and I'm recording this freestyle. There's no script to it. There's only a structure inside of my head. I do apologize for any bad English or mumbling and fumbling of words, because English is not my mother tongue. That would be German. You could probably hear this from my accent throughout the video. Sometimes I do stutter a little bit, or I mix up words. And sometimes if I'm talking too fast, I will slip in a German word in an English sentence, which to you might sound really weird and funny, but to me that's just because sometimes my mind is slower than my mouth. Let's get to part number one. Anyways, gentlemen, let's get back to the video. And I want to record this video sitting this way because I've seen this on YouTube, and I think for me personally, not directly looking into a camera like this makes me talk a lot better, because I don't get distracted by myself in the screen preview mirror. Okay? Any camera that you have, even if your movie camera, your phone, whatever, there's always the mirror function, the preview function that shows on display. For example, on my phone, right now I'm seeing myself mirrored, so it's not the real picture, but a mirror picture of what the video is going to look like when it's done recording. And I don't want to be distracted by that, because I'm the kind of guy to search for imperfections throughout videos on my person, on things in the room, and my OCD would prevent me from being able to record a clean video without 1,000 cuts. And I am quite lazy. I want this to be as clean as possible, and I don't want there to be as many cuts as you used to see in the older videos I did. So, I quit Celtic Heroes was a sentence that I used to say quite some time. I used to use this exact phrase for the last 3 videos, I do believe, that I did. And now, finally, the time has come where I can happily and gladly tell you that I quit Celtic Heroes. And there's nothing in the world that would get me back on Celtic Heroes. Celtic Heroes is a complete waste of time. There is a lot of good friendships that can form throughout playing the game, and even stay after you quit or left the game, a game world, the server, or even a clan you joined, made friends in. And for me, the only types of friendships that matter in my life, that are relevant to me, is what stays after, or basically, let me rephrase this, what stays, the kind of relationship that do stay once you are offline and no longer online. These friendships are the ones that matter. The rest is fake as fuck. You don't need fake friends in your life. You do not need to. And that's a thing that I learned the hard way, you could say. Because I used to spend a lot of time on Celtic Heroes in clans with the wrong people. I tried to be something for them that they wanted me to be, which is a really big mistake. And it always made me feel like I was not enough. I wanted to make other people proud of myself, what I did on the game. And years passed now, and I aged a lot. I mean, I'm pushing 30, boys. It's no longer the young guy talking to you. It's more, I would say, the grown adult now talking to you. Which, as cringe as it might sound, is exactly what's going on. I'm talking from a more mature view on topics which I did engage in as a kid, as a younger person. I played this game all throughout my youth. There is so many, nowadays you would say, cringe moments and chats still online of stuff you, and everybody else on the game did when we were younger. And now that I'm a little bit older and a little bit more mature in my head, I finally understand responsibilities and also the responsibility for yourself, that you do not need to prove to anybody that you are something these people want you to be. That is why I don't really care about old people I met on the game that I'm no longer in touch with. There's a reason. I used to try to keep friends around, send them Instagram messages or whatever. But nowadays I've come to the point of acceptance, where I know that the time I spend with these people might be cool in a cool memory, but it's just not worth the time thinking about them. Because a video game never has any sort of relevance, even though we played this game for years, and I myself am guilty of this too. I used to say this game is part of my life. No, it's not. No, it's not. It doesn't really matter. That is why I quit Celtic Heroes, because I realized that the game is not going anywhere. It's not the same interest I had when I was younger. There's nothing to gain from the game that is worth investing your lifetime into it. And that's the thing that you gotta learn all throughout the years, from your teenage years, let's say 13 to 18. Okay? 13 to 18 is when you play a lot of video games usually, and you hang out with friends or fake friends all day. You just do stuff all day online. For me, when I was that age, the big game of my time was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. I used to spend a lot of time on these games. But later in life, I realized that none of the stuff that I did on these games, none of the time I did spend on these games mattered for my life. Because your teenage life is not the same as your adult life. It's not the same. And it can't be compared. It never will be. It just can't. And that's a lesson I learned the hard way. Everybody learns a lesson in life, that you just are not the same person you are when you are younger than when you are older. I might just switch these two around, but you get the point. Okay, let's get into part 2. Part 2 is gonna be the new area. Okay. Well, let me ask you this. What the fuck? What kind of shitty new area did the developing team develop and push out to a dying player base? What was the idea behind that very move to put that unfinished piece of garbage out there to the player base? I don't understand it. I just don't. I downloaded the last update for the game when it came out. It's now a couple months back now. And I was so hyped about it. I was pumped about it. I was like, Celtic Heroes is back. And now knowing that there's other things out there, right? That there's so many good people out there, and you guys know exactly who you are. You're probably watching this, and I'm not leaking anything, boys, don't worry about it. But there's so many good people that really care about stuff and that really get shit done, that I think the developing team of Celtic Heroes should be ashamed in comparison. What they pushed out there, the new, what's it called, Valley of the Ancients or whatever, I forgot the name of the area because it's so fucking irrelevant. Bullshit. It's empty, there's nothing to do, the enemies are unbalanced as fuck. The area looks like, and I used to do a little bit of game development myself, I used to study that at university here in my local city. Let's talk about Unity Engine for a minute. Unity Engine is where the game is developed in or made in. Back in the days, we used to basically brush landscapes, right? You could sculpt out with a simple tool landscapes like hills and grass and whatever, And then you could just brush it with texture, and you would have a finished area in half an hour before baking it and all that stuff. Before rendering anything, just the basic area. You could put a player controller in there, a 3D environment, and you could have that controller be taken over by the player and walk around in a finished wood scenario. You could create a school, you could create a desert, whatever was on your mind. You'd still have to do clipping and rigging and all that stuff that's in game development nowadays. But you could just create an area that fast. And I think the new area looks just like that. Like somebody took maybe an hour or two and just went with a brush like boom, 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 done. That's new area. Perfect. Let's fill it with the same old mobs, reuse old designs, and not add anything of value to it. That's what they did. And that's why I think the new area for Celtic Heroes is offensive. It is offensive at a point to release that onto a also already dying player base. It's a huge mistake. And a red flag. You should not spend any time or money on that game anymore. Period. So let's talk about point 3. Point 3 is something that is dear and near to my heart. Use your time more efficient. Do not spend a second on or irrelevant video games, unimportant things ever. Just do not use your time for that kind of stuff. If you want to make connections or build a network throughout the game, maybe you need a player base for your own MMORPG, yeah, you could try that. But don't use Celtic Heroes as a prime example, because the game is complete and utter garbage. I might get into trouble for saying this, but that's my personal opinion. And I find it wicked that people still spend so much time on Celtic Heroes. On games in general, just try to use your free time, because we don't have much time. We don't. We gotta take time. For example, this cigar I'm smoking right now is a cigar that will burn for an hour and a half. It's time I take, right? Because I value the smoke and the value the smoke has. You cannot break this down. It costs $10. It's 10 euros. It's not much money, but you can't define the value of a cigar with money. It's the time we take and what we make of it. Because the only real value in life is our time and health. These are the only two values we have: is health and time. And most likely these two at some point will collide, or one will collapse. And that is oftentimes time will collapse first, and then your health collapses. And for me to say this is something I realized down the line. Friends dying, friends getting sick, myself also, problems are starting now, because I'm not the young guy that used to do these videos anymore. I'm pushing 30 now, boys. Yes, 30 still the prime, but there's still some problems, responsibilities, and stuff that I gotta take over now that I wouldn't have to in the past when I was younger, because you are not the same person in your adult life as you are in your teenage years. Nobody is. I don't want to lecture you guys, honestly. I just want you to see that there's people like me. I'm like a hardcore Celtic Heroes player, or I used to. Even people like me will eventually move on. And I used to hate when people quit the game, were like, fuck this game, I'm quitting. I used to think that these guys were traitors to the clan, to their friends. There was a clan I was in on a server called Don, where when you would quit, people would basically be like, return your gear to the bank, and people would always talk shit about people that left for whatever reason, quit the game or whatever. And nowadays, I understand, and I think that these people that decided to quit Celtic Heroes because they understood that time is more valuable, and you don't get anything out of playing a game other than trying to make people proud of you that do not matter for your life. Your clan chief, your generals, or whatever, your friends on the game. None of these people will have an impact on your life. None of what you do on a game matters for your life. This is why I respect people that said, okay, fuck it, I'm out, I'm quitting. I want to end this video by telling you, please use your time in the most efficient way. If you say Celtic Heroes is the best way for you, okay, fine. But maybe start, and I'm sounding like my father here, but maybe start reading a book. The thing is, you could say this is cringe now, right? Because what fuck, old guy cringe. But the older you get, the more you understand your parents. And if you don't, that is a sign of being immature. The more mature you are, the more you understand that these people, your parents or uncle, whatever, all the people around you, they understood that life is not about playing video games, but about life itself. And it sounds as stupid as it sounds, it's the actual truth. Because boys, honestly, from man to man, life itself is great. Once you understand that and you want to make the best out of it, you want to see as much of this world we are born in, it's to me frightening and almost sickening even that we used to dedicate so much time online instead of actually seeing our life. The whole teenage years, you don't really care about anything. You are anti everything. But once you hit puberty, you are anti parents, anti all the views in the world, and you just go down a narrow path that eventually, you, as you mature, you will figure out that narrow path was the wrong path. Because if I continued the same way I did as I was a teenager throughout my adult years, I would be nothing. I'd probably end on the streets or whatever. It's as frightening to me to know that there's people out there that are just wasting time. And I hate the thought of that I wasted years in the past doing nothing relevant for my life. Now I'm at the point that life is good, life is pretty great. I like to sit around, smoke cigars, have conversations with the right people in the right places. I like to do stuff with my wife. I like to travel around. I like to meet really good people. I like to do business. I like all that part about life. It's as simple as for me, for my own pleasure, which is a thing that I used to hate when I was like a teenager, is to go out in the woods. I would often find myself smoking a cigar in the garden or in the woods and just enjoy stuff around me. Now, I think once you understand that fundamentally life itself is the greatest gift you can get. If you say, okay, God gave me life, if you say your mother gave you life, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's not the topic of this video, but just appreciate life. I want you guys to appreciate life. Okay, boys, with that being said, video is now like what, 15-20 minutes long. I can't stand to hear myself much more. I gotta finish this cigar, meet a friend. So see you on the next one. Maybe there won't be any videos ever. Maybe. Maybe I'll do a watch video next week. You don't know. Maybe some old Celtic Heroes videos re-uploads I will upload. But I will not spend a second on it anymore. I deleted the game. I'm sorry to anybody that wants me to get online for whatever reason. But I won't. Boys, I won't. There's no way I will get online in Celtic Heroes again. That being said, boys, see you in the next one.